Hi, I'm going to try to help you understand what trigonometric ratios are. Okay, first of all, it's a ratio. A trigonometric ratio, I'm reading if you'll read along with me up here, a trigonometric is a ratio of the lengths of two sides in a right triangle. So the subject is a right triangle. You're going to use trigonometric ratios to find the measure of a side or an acute angle. So trigonometric ratios, we're going to learn what they are in a minute, can be used to find the measure of the length of a side or one of the acute angles in a right triangle. One of the trigonometric ratios is called the tangent ratio. Okay, the tangent ratio is the ratio. Well, first let's back up a little bit. First, we're going to understand that you need to know the anatomy of a right triangle. Okay, so with right triangles, the two sides that form the right angle are called the legs, and the side opposite the right angle is called the hypotenuse. All right, so we're going to look at three trigonometric ratios: tangent, sine, and cosine. The tangent ratio is the ratio of the length of the leg opposite the angle you're referring to over the length of the leg adjacent to the angle you're referring to. So let's say I was referring to angle A. All right, the tangent ratio is going to be the length of the leg opposite over the length of the leg adjacent. Okay, so we also need to understand what adjacent is. Adjacent means next to or beside. You can identify adjacent sides by do they share a common vertex. Okay, like this side here is adjacent to this side because they both share point A. This side here is adjacent to this side here because they both share point B. Okay, so the tangent ratio is the length of the leg opposite the angle you're referring to and over the length of the leg adjacent to the angle that you're referring to. Okay, so let's say that this was a 3, 4, 5 triangle. So this leg length is 3, this is 4, and the hypotenuse is 5. So if I wanted to write the tangent of the ratio A, or the ratio of the tangent for angle A, that would be opposite, which would be 3 over 4. Okay, that's the tangent of angle A. All right. So let's look at sine and cosine. The sine and cosine ratios are also for the acute angles and involve the lengths of a leg and the hypotenuse of a right triangle. Okay, so let's look at sine first. It's a ratio. The sine ratio is the length of the leg opposite the angle you're referring to over the length of the hypotenuse. So if this is a 3, 4, 5 triangle, okay, the sine of angle A would be opposite, which is 3, over hypotenuse, which is 5. Okay, the sine of angle B, if I were referring to angle B, opposite, okay, that would be 4 over hypotenuse, which would be 5. Okay, and then cosine, the ratio for cosine, the cosines of angles is the length of the leg adjacent to the length of the hypotenuse. So again, if I refer to angle A, I'm dealing with cosine. This is the adjacent leg, so that's 4. So the cosine of angle A would be 4 over the length of the hypotenuse, which is 5. Okay, and again, if I was referring to angle B, that would be opposite, or excuse me, I'm talking about cosine, so that would be adjacent, which would be 3 over hypotenuse, which is 5. Okay, let me see how much time I've used there. All right, we'll stop there on this one.